let's get ready and talk about how Ozempic was literally the worst thing I've ever tried. So I decided to start Ozempic for two reasons. One is that I was really wanting to bring it into my practice. I had so many people ask if I was going to bring it into Beauty Boost. And while I'm not a weight loss clinic, I thought it'd be a good connection with aesthetics because so many people go through facial volume loss when they're losing weight, whether it's assisted or not assisted, and they just need that volume replacement, and it would go hand in hand with fillers and collagen stimulators. But as always, I always like to try everything on myself before I do it on my patients, just to make sure that if I can tolerate it and I like it, I can speak intelligently about it and also recommend it. The second reason of why I wanted to start Ozempic is because I was reading that it actually helps you with fertility, and I've been on this journey with my husband of trying to get pregnant for the past year and a half, and anything to avoid IVF I was down for. It was really for those who have hormonal imbalances like PCOS, and because I had a cyst that had to be emergently removed when I was 22 years old, and I have irregular periods, I thought that this would be a good trial for those two reasons. So I got Ozempic from a med spa, and I started at the starting dose that everyone starts at, which is 0.25 milligrams that you inject subcutaneously and you self-inject weekly thereafter. The instructions said to dose yourself up if you're not feeling any terrible side effects and your appetite is not suppressed after every 2 to 4 weeks. But because I had a little event that I wanted to look really skinny for, which was a conference in Vegas, I decided to taper up a little bit more quickly than the average patient. I went from 0.25, where I didn't feel any side effects and my appetite was full-blown effect, to 0.4 the following week. And again, I just didn't feel any appetite suppression. My husband, who was actually on Ozempic last year and lost 20 pounds in literally 3 months, didn't have these side effects. He actually felt the appetite suppression immediately. So I thought I was just someone that needed a higher dose. But I also just think I need a little bit more. I'm 5'7" and I was 140 pounds at the time, so going up a little bit higher I wasn't nervous about. I noticed that when I was dosing up, I was having more and more side effects. For example, almost immediately the first week, even though my appetite wasn't fully suppressed, I felt really tired. So tired to the point where it was hard for me to wake up in the mornings. It was hard for me to do my job, and if I had a normal desk job, it probably was something that I could have worked through the fatigue. But because I'm on my feet, I'm interacting with patients, I'm really expected to bring a certain level of energy and of course focus with running a business, treating my patients, and managing staff. It was really, really challenging for me to have that exhaustion. It seemed like no matter how many hours of sleep I got, and I'm talking about like 8 or 9 every night when I'm used to just 6 or 7 every night, I never felt well rested. Another few side effects I was experiencing as I was dosing up over the total of 4 weeks that I was on Ozempic was that I was so thirsty. And you should stay really hydrated when you're on Ozempic, but it was like as if no matter how much water I drank, I never felt like my thirst was quenched. Also, something that you should know about Ozempic, the main mechanism of action is that it delays gastric emptying, so that way you're able to stay full longer, which makes a lot of sense. But when you have so much water in your stomach, you just feel like it's just sitting up there, if that makes sense. Something else to know about gastric emptying: if you have a history of acid reflux or feeling just a little bit heartburn after alcohol, for example, or spicy food, or anything that could trigger something that would make you feel like you have indigestion, Ozempic's not for you. I knew this going in, that after I have 1 or 2 glasses of wine or cocktails, I just have a really bad burning sensation. I can't sleep at night. It hurts. I have to take Tums, sometimes even Pepto-Bismol. Ozempic exacerbates that times 10. I mean, I could not sleep throughout the night. I would get up around 3 or 4. I'd have to chug a half a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. I knew this was a problem when I finished 1 bottle of Pepto-Bismol within 24 hours because how sick I felt on Ozempic. I understand nausea is one of the side effects, and as much as I took Zofran to help counteract that nausea, it just never really cut it because you still feel this underlying gnawing sensation. Remember, the acid is sitting in your stomach because of that delayed gastric emptying, so you just feel it kind of creeping up. I took Tums, I took Pepcid, I took Pepto-Bismol, I took Zofran. So many medications to help manage my side effects, and I still felt tired. I still felt thirsty, and I still felt really, I still felt hungry even though I was dosing up. One other thing that I really did not appreciate from Ozempic that people should talk more about is the constipation. I know that sounds really gross, but it becomes very uncomfortable if you're not able to do your regular bathroom routine after, 2-3 days. You feel almost like you have rocks in your stomach, and it becomes just uncomfortable. I took stool softeners to help with that, and that still did not help me with my regular bowel movements, so I really wish I knew that before going into it. My husband also did Ozempic, and he had the same exact side effect of fatigue and constipation, but he didn't have any side effects of like the nausea or any feeling of sickness to the extent that I had. 2.5 my starting dose to 0.4 the next week to 0.5 the following week, and that is when everything went downhill. I went out to sushi with some friends on a Saturday night, and I thought I had food poisoning because I was vomiting so much that night, and to the point where I lost so much hydration and fluid and fatigue that I had to go to an IV hydration room just to get hydrated again and feel better. But again, I still didn't feel 100% after I got my IV. In fact, I was in bed the entire next day and I could not function. It was at that point that I just decided no more. I'd rather be fat and happy and healthy than skinny and this sick feeling and this miserable. It just wasn't worth it. As I was reading more and more about Ozempic, I saw that it actually makes you lose bone mass, muscle mass, if you take it for extended period of time. Well, that was not my intent. It was just to try it out for my patients and also assist with fertility. I decided after 1 month it was simply not worth it, and I could never offer this drug to my patients safely and effectively. Now for the weight loss. I lost a total of 5 pounds in 4 weeks, and while that's very impressive for someone like me, for example, who's tall and it takes me a long time to lose weight, and I really show it really quickly, I still didn't think it was worth it. In fact, when I got off of it, even though the side effects are still lingering in my system, it actually stays in your system for up to 5 weeks. My appetite is back. I had pizza and pasta and soup the other night without feeling that I was completely full. However, I still felt a little underlying nausea. I'm still having some constipation, and I'm still experiencing a lot of fatigue. I'm so tired. And in terms of fertility, I think that I'm going to save that for the specialist. Doing this on your own and thinking that you can get 2 out of 1 thing is, of course, very hopeful, but I'm at an age and a point in my fertility journey. I'm going to save it for my IVF doctor. While this was just simply my experience, I've heard great experiences from other people that haven't had as many side effects. I think really the reason why I had such bad side effects was, 1, I probably wasn't the ideal candidate for it, and 2, I already had pre-existing symptoms that just got worse over time, and I dosed so quickly, so fast. So if you're considering this, definitely team up with a doctor who will handhold you in terms of dosing you correctly, really managing your symptoms, and making sure, of course, you're the right candidate for it. There are other weight loss medications such as Mounjaro that I've heard better in terms of the side effects, but I really, really wanted to try Ozempic because of how popular it is and how highly requested it is at Beauty Boost. Overall, I really think the key to weight loss that you just simply can't cheat over time is going to be diet and exercise. Minimizing the quantity you eat and, of course, increasing the quality of what you eat is going to be the most safe and effective and long-lasting over time, combined with, of course, cardiovascular exercise and weight-bearing strength training exercise. I have heard of a lot of people rebounding in terms of weight gain after they get off Ozempic, and I think that is why so many people decide to stay on it long term, even though it's not meant for long term when it comes to weight loss. It's just meant for kickstart. If you do have pre-existing metabolic syndrome or you're pre-diabetic, of course this might be a medication that you just stay on lifelong with, of course, your physician oversight. Now let's talk about celebrities, because this gained so much popularity with people like the Kardashians, for example, and it was circulating that they might have had their butts lipoed out, but really they were just losing so much fat. When you lose 10% of your body fat in less than a year, you lose it everywhere in places that you want to keep it, like your face, like your butt. So just keep that in mind, because celebrities influence this uptake of weight loss. People who are just simply not a candidate are starting it. We see it in people who are very, very skinny, like models, and we see that their face is literally wasting away. A lot of people are thinking that there's a lot of buccal fat removal in these celebrities, when really it's just facial volume loss from such severe weight loss over such a short amount of time. Overall, I'm really happy that I tried this out. I always want to try things out before I bring it in to make sure that if, of course, I can tolerate it, my patients can. I just can't imagine doing this to people and hand-holding them through all these side effects. I just don't think it's worth it. Would I be open to other weight loss modalities in the future? Absolutely. I'm always interested in trying things before anyone else does, but maybe I'll just stick with my husband trying it before I try it. I'd love to hear if you guys tried Ozempic or Mounjaro or any other weight loss medication and what you went through, if you'd recommend it, if you agree with me that you would just never do it again and do it the safe way. I want to hear from you guys and what you want to see, and just always look to me for someone that is honest and open and will give you my true medical professional opinion. Thanks for watching.